Hi, welcome to my channel, Storytelling Angel 1 and 2. I had to change my name a little bit just to make myself stand out. Anyways, got another original for you, which I'll be reading, and it's called The Grumpy King. Let's begin. Today was King George's birthday. Everyone wanted to give him something special. They knew the king was having trouble sleeping. So many people thought of good ways to help him sleep. The ballroom was set, balloons, ribbon everywhere, and the cake. The cake was King George's favorite. He loved chocolate with yellow frosting and blue stars. As he entered, "Happy birthday, King George!" Everyone cheered and whistled, but King George didn't care. He was just so tired, and no matter how hard he tried to sleep at night, he just couldn't. King George went to his seat at the front of the ballroom. With a heavy thump planted his bottom. He cleared his throat and said, "Begin the gift giving." "Tonight, my lord, we have 3 different gifts for you," said a servant of the king. "3," said the king. "Is that all?" "Yes, my lord. 3 ideas on how to help you fall asleep and stay asleep until the sunrise," the servant explained. "We'll at least need 3 nights to see what idea works for you, my lord." The king thought about it. He never tried. Sorry about that. He was very tired and really wanted to get some sleep. So he decided to celebrate his birthday for the next 3 nights or until one of his ideas worked. "And what happens when none of your ideas work? What then?" the king demanded. The servant didn't think about that and didn't know how to answer. Just then, a little girl came up and answered for the servant. "I will give you my white bunny." The king looked down at the little girl, who was wearing a dress light purple and flowers in her hair, holding a white bunny. It had really long ears and a big fluffy tail, and the king smiled to himself and thought he could never take the bunny from her. But he didn't have a stuffed bunny either. "Let's begin," announced the king. Night 1. First idea was for the king to drink a big warm cup of milk and a fresh baked cookie. The cooks got to work. They warmed up the milk and put it into a nice glass cup. Then they pulled out of the oven a warm chocolate chip, since chocolate was one of the king's favorites. Next, the servant took the warm milk and the cookie to the king on a silver platter. The king was in his room, in his king-size bed, under lots of covers, waiting for his treat. "Knock, knock." "Come in," said the king with a grumpy voice. The servant entered with a smile. "My lord, your dessert and warm milk." "'Bout time," grumbled the king. The king grabbed the cookie and swallowed it whole. He next snatched the cup of warm milk and put it to his lips. His eyes widened, tears in them, and he let out a loud, horrible scream. "That's too hot! What are you trying to do to me?" yelled the king. The servant didn't know how to respond. The first experiments has failed. "Get out!" bellowed the king. The servant left the room with a sad face, and he went down to the kitchen. He shook his head to everyone he passed to let them know it didn't work. When he got to the kitchen, "Don't worry. The next There are 2 more plans in place. Maybe one of these plans will work." And everybody took a deep breath and began for tomorrow night's experiment. Night 2. The second plan was to fill the king's room with sweet smells, such as lilacs, cherry blossoms, and warm summer breezes. So the servants washed the king's bedding in a cherry blossom perfume and filled his pillows with lilacs. He opened his windows to let the warm breeze in. Now it was ready for the king. The king entered the room, loved the warm breeze. He started to feel relaxed and sleepy. He climbed into his bed and almost closed his eyes when he heard a cricket. He took a deep breath to yell for his servant, but from the lilac and the cherry blossom perfume began to choke instead. The servant rushed in from all the noise to see what the fuss. "My lord!" He stopped and quickly got the king a cup of water. "Get this stuff out now!" yelled the king in between coughs, and the servant did in no time at all. Once things were settled and the servant was back in the kitchen, "Well, we still have one more plan. Maybe this will be the one, and our king will finally have a good night's sleep." Night 3. The king was dreading the third night. He even wished on a star that he could fall asleep. He was getting grumpier by the minute. He sat in his bed and wondered what was coming. Hopefully nothing hot or perfuming smelling. He just wouldn't do that again. The servant came in. The king took a deep breath, waiting for the worst. Shaking, the servant said, May tonight be the night of good rest, my lord. We have a book for you to read." "A book?" yelled the king. No. If I wanted a book, I would have went to the library and got a story to read." The king was disappointed and even more grumpy. "Get out," the king said in a harsh tone. The servant just ran out in tears. In all his years, he never got treated so badly by the king. The little girl saw the servant rush past in tears and felt really bad for him. She decided to give the king her rabbit because she knew it helped her sleep. Maybe it will help the king. She went up to the king's room. She could hear the king crying. But why? She went in. "I'm a horrible person. I shouldn't have been so mean to my servant. I must apologize." As the king turned to do just that, he saw the little girl. "What are you doing in here?" The little girl took the king's hand and set him down on the bed. "Here you go. When I can't sleep, I cuddle with Mr. Bunny, and my mama sings a sweet lullaby. That puts me right to sleep." So the king went under his covers and took the bunny and hugged him real tight. And the little girl sang a sweet lullaby. It wasn't long, and the king was fast asleep. Morning came, birds were singing, and a big breakfast waited for the king. When the king awoke, he felt like a new person. Couldn't wait to begin the day. He noticed the bunny was still with him. He decided to make his own bunny and have one of the servants sing a sweet lullaby every other day. The king ran down the stairs to apologize to the servant from last night and to continue on his way. The servant asked, "Where are you going?" And the king replied, "To see the little girl and give her her bunny back." As the king came to a little house in the city, he saw the little girl playing hopscotch with some of the other kids. "Pardon me," he announced the king. All the other kids stood still with big doughy eyes, unsure what to do. The little girl smiled at the king and ran up to him, ready for a big hug. "See, it worked, didn't it?" The king smiled back at the little girl and said, "Yes, my lady, it sure did. And I would like to return your bunny with a big thank you." The king was no longer Grumpy King. and lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, and if you have, hit that like button. And if you would like to hear more stories such as this, hit that dry tongue. Hit that subscribe button. And if you have any comments, drop them in the comment section. Thank you so much. Have a great day.